Hello, this is Lynn from Lynn's Corner, where you get your motivational and inspirational tea. I'm here with another video. Had a conversation with one of my friends today, my spiritual sister, and left her a message. Well, she had kind of left me a message. We were leaving messages back and forth. And I was in the middle of telling her something on the voice clip, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to do a video on this. Because somebody else, I know that she and I can't be the only two people on this earth, on this spiritual journey, that were feeling the same way that we were feeling. That we both talked about we were feeling. So I'm just going to jump right into it. And I was talking to her about how lately I had been feeling like, well, let me just even take it back a step further. When you are on your spiritual journey, and I don't mean religious journey. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about church. I'm not talking about Christianity. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm talking about just going internally and on your spiritual journey. It's not easy. And it's not all peaches and cream either. And when you're in the process of healing, healing is forever. Healing is consistent. Healing is a daily thing. So when you're going through all of these different things, you're going to feel a lot of different emotions. But there's some key things that I continue to realize, and I continue to tell myself. Some key things that are very important to the whole process of healing, to the whole process of spiritual journey. It's some things that you got to keep in place. Now, I will say, I realized that recently, like over the past couple of weeks, I was slowly slipping back into self-doubt. Slowly slipping back into some old patterns. Not full on slipping back into it, but just slipping back into self-doubt, slipping back into old patterns, slipping back into old like conversations, or listening to or participating in old conversations, or conversations, the type of conversations I used to have. Slipping back into questioning myself, not being as sure of myself as I had grown to be, had healed to be. But like I say, healing is not linear. It's all over the place sometimes. It just wasn't grounded. How about that? That's the word I used earlier. I wasn't feeling grounded. And you know how you can get in a pool and you don't feel the bottom of the pool? You can't get your footing. You just kind of in there like, whoa, wait a minute. I had that feeling. So all of these old kind of feelings were surrounding me. And I just couldn't figure out what in the world was going on. I got freed of it today, though. I did. But I had worked so hard to get to this point where I am. Where I feel good about myself, where I'm confident, where I love myself, where it didn't matter who liked me and who didn't, because I know who I am, and I know that who is supposed to be in my life is going to be in my life. But I was slipping. And then I had to ask myself, well, why is that? What was going on? And you know what it was? My spiritual diet was trash. My spiritual diet had gotten to be trash. I wasn't consuming the videos, watching the, YouTube videos that I usually watch, from the ladies that I usually watch to keep me on point. I wasn't having spiritual conversations with anybody, because one thing about this journey, you're not going to find you're not going to walk in a room or go to a new job or go to a function and find 6, 7 spiritual people in that room. You're just not. Right? So it's already kind of a slightly lonely path anyway. Not necessarily lonely, but a path that everybody's not necessarily on. So I realized my spiritual, I wasn't listening to my girls that I usually listen to. Wasn't doing any spiritual reading of my books at all. Right? But what I was doing, I wasn't in nature. Haven't taken any walks. Oh, it's too cold. I'm not going out there. Well, you know what? I could sit on the porch. I could put a coat on and sit my behind on the porch. I got plants on the porch. The air, the natural air, the moon, all of that, the sun. I could be doing all of that. But what I was doing, like I started to say, I was watching a whole bunch of movies that had a whole bunch of crime in it. Watching thrillers. I don't like horror movies, but I like a lot of thrillers, a lot of psychological thrillers. And my whole diet was filled with watching those movies, listening to people do a whole lot of complaining, or a lot of people do a lot of surface talking. I'm participating in these surface conversations. How much so-and-so paid for this? Not doing the talking, but listening. Right? Who said hi, who didn't speak, who spoke. I was all concerned about that. Oh, these people not speaking to me. I wonder why. These people, just so far out of whack. When was the last time I was worried about somebody speaking to me? When was the last time I was worried about what man ain't calling me? When was the last? It's been a while, is what I'm trying to say. But if you don't put in what you want out, you're gonna get that. If you got a trash spiritual diet, just like if your real diet, if your physical diet is trash, you're gonna feel bad. You're gonna look bad. You're gonna gain weight. You know what I was gaining? I was gaining a whole bunch of spiritual, well, not even spiritual, but a whole lot of outside heaviness and a whole lot of outside weight, right? And I do have this one friend that leaves messages, for me to hear, because I don't really talk on the phone, but I might respond. I will respond to a voice clip, so I'll go back and forth with the voice clips. And it was message after message after message of talking about somebody, what somebody's doing, how they not doing their job, why she married to him. I wouldn't put them together. It was just a lot of that. And even though I wasn't responding to those messages, you know what was happening as well? That stuff gets in your head. It goes in. If you're listening, it's gonna go in. I don't care whether you say, "Oh, it don't bother me. I just let that stuff roll off my back." Whatever. It goes in here. So you got that sitting in here. You got the movies sitting in here, the crime thrillers. You're not putting nothing in. So you got all of this. Like I said to my spiritual sister, poor spiritual hygiene. Poor spiritual hygiene. Poor spiritual diet and poor spiritual hygiene. Not taking care of yourself in the spiritual manner the way that you need to be. And that will happen if you don't nurture yourself. You have to nurture yourself. You got to be around people that's going to spiritually pour into you. Not that trash about who's dating who go with who. And even at my age, people still talk about that kind of stuff. I can't believe he with her. What does he see in her? Why did he choose her? Why did he pick her? All that kind of stuff. You can't get involved in that. I went back. Remember you can go back a couple videos ago, I talked about shut your mouth. Not only do we need to shut our mouths, we need to close our ears. Not make ourselves available for stuff like that. It's okay to look at a thriller movie here and there, but don't spend hours and hours of your free time watching thriller movies. What are you doing, girl? I could have been on YouTube watching my girl Rebel Flower. There's so many people on YouTube that I watch that pour into me, pour into my spirit, help me look at things a different way, give me a different perspective, positive energy through and through. You have to be deliberate about this spiritual life. You have to be deliberate about your healing. You have to be deliberate about how you want to function throughout this life. You got to be deliberate about who you want in your space. You got to be deliberate about the things that you read. You got to be deliberate about the things that you respond to. Your spiritual hygiene has got to be on point. Your spiritual diet has got to be on point. It's got to be on point. So today, last night was a full moon, and I wrote a couple things down. I read part of my horoscope for 2025, because I don't know, I have mentioned moon omens before, I think. So I followed them, and they just put out those. So I did read that. I didn't really do any rituals per se, any new moon rituals per se, but I did that. But then when I woke up this morning, I saw that one of the people that I usually listen to, usually watch her videos, she did a new video, and I listened to that video. Her videos are usually like an hour long. I listened to that video, and it just, you know how when you're thirsty, like starving, like not starving, but just really, really thirsty, and you get that drink of water and you just chug the water because you're so thirsty. That's how I felt listening to her video today. I had been spiritually thirsty. I just soaked in everything that she was talking about today. And it was just all the things that she was talking about was applying to me. And if this applied to me, that applied to me, that applied to me. It all applied. I even pulled myself a card today because I have a few decks. And I got a brand new goddess deck that I love. And I pulled a card from that today. Guess what that card talked about? Said I was imbalanced, which was accurate. You know, I hadn't even gotten away from that. I usually pull like 2 to 3 cards a week. For myself, not for anybody else, but for myself. I ain't gotten away from that. So yeah, if you are feeling unsure of yourself on this spiritual journey, if you feel like you're reverting back to some of your old ways, some of your old habits, trying to be around some of the people that you had removed yourself from, dipping back, you might want to check your spiritual hygiene. You might want to check your spiritual diet. What are you eating? What are you consuming? And when I say eating, I mean eating, not really eating. But what are you consuming? What are you spiritually consuming? And how are you pouring into yourself? Who are you around? What are you watching? What are you listening to? And how much time are you spending in nature? Those are the 4 things that you need to ask yourself when you feel like you are depleted. Okay? So I just wanted to come on and share a little bit with you. And if you felt like that before, if you know what I'm talking about, leave a comment, like, share, and subscribe. See you soon.